What is up, my internet family? So right now we are sitting in my personal studio, which is just my living room when I tear it apart and set it up as a photo studio. You can see I've got lights all over, but I've been taking pictures of myself this evening. I knew I needed to make a video, but I also wanted to try something out with my photography, so I figured I'd just combine them into one, make it fun, because that's what we're all about here. Yeah, I was working on some self-portraiture, which is different than selfies. What's the difference between a selfie and self-portraiture, you ask? Well, just the amount of money invested in getting the pictures made. What happened was I stumbled across this graph online this week that was just a really good guide to how to set up a bunch of different lighting for portraits. And so I wanted to test it out. So I've been just setting up my lights in different ways, in angles, in front of me and back of me, the sides, 2 lights, 3 lights, all over the place. So I could test stuff out, and we've got some results like this. And then there's this one. This one's one of my favorites for sure. And then this is just me being silly. The video's not about photography. That was just something I was doing today, so I figured it was more interesting than me sitting at a desk doing nothing. What I wanted to talk about today is the idea of going with your gut or trusting your instincts. It's like a really common saying, but you never talk about what are your instincts? Like, what exactly is going on that's causing you to feel that way? And is it trustworthy or not? And in the end, I'll tell you a story that is the reason why I've been thinking about instincts a lot. And it serves as a lesson in why you need to trust your instincts. Sorry, when I keep saying trust your instincts, I just think of Star Fox for any of you N64 fans out there.
Never give up! Trust your instincts!
Now, we've all either said or heard someone say in reaction to something, just like, I had this gut feeling that I should do this, or I had this gut reaction that I shouldn't do that. What is it? Like, what do we mean? What is going on in our gut? Why do we call it our gut feeling? I mean, it's not like our stomach is actually doing the thinking for us, although when I go to a buffet, sometimes that's the more logical explanation for what happens. So I started doing some research, as I do for the basis of pretty much every one of these videos, on what your gut feeling is, or your instincts are. So it turns out that what we call our gut feeling is actually our subconscious. And what's going on when you have a gut feeling is your subconscious is trying to transmit a sensation to your conscience in a way that will help you make the right decision based on all of the experiences that are cataloged in your subconscious regarding the decision you're about to make and the experiences that you've learned from similar decisions in the past. Basically, it's like personal precedent for you to make decisions off of. But it's pretty cool that our subconscious can recognize a situation and without having to like send a specific thought to our head, just be like, hey, we've been in similar situations before, and based on our previous experiences, this is probably the best way to go. And so does it mean it's perfect? No. Like, if you always go with your gut, you will make a bad decision once in a while. It's gonna happen. So even though that gut reaction is basically your subconscious telling you what it thinks is the best choice, your subconscious is going to have biases based on your perception of things you've experienced that are gonna be different than someone else's, meaning that your subconscious would tell you to do something different than somebody else in the exact same situation because you've lived a different life. But what that means is you should trust it to some extent. It doesn't mean it's the end-all be-all. Like, you don't just go, well, my gut's telling me this, so definitely doing that. But it is a much more credible sensation than we may give it credit for. So if our subconscious is typically right, why don't we pay attention to it? And my friends, it's because we think too much. Now, this is where I'm getting away from the science and I'm getting into my opinion on stuff. But if you don't want to know my opinion, you shouldn't be watching my videos anyway. So my opinion, from the readings I've done, my personal experience, and even from a couple books that don't address the subconscious specifically, but they talk about the idea of your first impression of action, is that our subconscious is the first thing to tell us what we should do in a situation. And then we start thinking it to death. After we get that initial instinct from our subconscious, we start picking apart every angle, every detail, every possible outcome until we can't even discern what our subconscious was trying to tell us. And we get in our own heads. I do. I mean, how many times in videos already have I talked about how I just overthink stuff? It's probably my biggest flaw. Specifically, there's this book I read for classes in college multiple times. It's a pretty short book, so I didn't mind. And it is also a great book. It's the best book. It's the best book. It's not huge. Its pages are great. Sorry. The book is called Leadership and Self-Deception. The basic concept that I've kept with me, our first instinct in a situation is what we should do. And then we start thinking of reasons, excuses why we shouldn't do it. And we start projecting that onto other people of why they should do it. And so we go from having a good idea of something to do to all of a sudden being critical of someone else for why aren't they doing it? So a classic example from this book is the idea of new parents with a baby that is obviously gonna wake up in the middle of the night screaming. And so for the sake of this example, let's say it's a family where the husband works and the mom is home taking care of the kid. So the dad, when he wakes up, his first instinct, even if it's not his first thought, his first instinct is gonna be, I should go get the baby. But then what happens? The next thought is, but I have to get up for work in the morning. I need my sleep. And then the next thought is, my wife knows that I need to sleep, that I need to provide for this family, and I need to be rested. Why doesn't she get the baby? And just like that, within like, what was that, 3 sentences, the guy's gone from a good thought of, I should get the baby, to criticizing his wife because she should get that he needs his rest. That's what your brain does for you. That's what not going with your gut does. It ruins your marriage. Now, I'm not really licensed to say that because I'm neither a therapist nor married, but you get what I'm talking about. But it's not even just in interactions with other people. It's about things you do to yourself. It's about things you do to yourself. Self-sabotage. So the story, to wrap this up, the story that I had this week is about a time where I didn't trust my gut and I ended up paying a price for it. And by price, I mean monetary. It wasn't a metaphorical price. So here's the story. I have been open on this channel about how I am terrible at car maintenance. I don't think I need to dive more into it in this video, but just know that I'm terrible at it. I've been trying to get better. I've been doing a lot of stuff to take care of my car, and karma is beating me down for that. So a few months ago, I bought new tires, 2 new tires for the back of my car, and everything was beautiful. About 2 months into that, I noticed that one of the new tires was getting low on air. So I mean, I've had that happen before with new tires, and I just put air in it once and it's fine. So I go put air in it. Then about 3 weeks later, the same tire's low on air again. And I'm getting suspicious this time, thinking I should take it in, but I'm just too lazy and I don't take care of my car like I should. So I put it off again. This time it only took 1 week for the tire to be low again. So I finally was adult enough to call this tire center and say, hey, one of these tires is faulty. I need to have it come. I need to bring it in and have you take a look at it. So I had an appointment set, and I went to put air in the tire at the same place that I had always been putting air in these times. And when I got there, the air pump was out of order. And so after I got dejectedly back in my car after seeing the out of order sign, my first instinct was, I should put my donut on. And then the lazy thoughts came in, and I was like, no, like, I don't want to put a tire, I don't have to change a tire for like a 2-mile drive to get to the tire center. It's not that bad, like, it's not that low, like, it's not like the rim was touching the ground or anything. And so I just convinced myself against my instinct that I would be fine, and I was wrong. The guy told me, well, what was wrong with the tire was fixable and under warranty, but here it comes. But since it was driven on while it was flat, the tire is now ruined, and you would need to replace the tire. All because I was too lazy to put my spare on, and because I didn't trust my gut. So let this be a lesson to you all. Pay more attention to your gut. Think about your gut. And I don't mean your stomach. I mean the subconscious sensations that are being sent as triggers to you to try and point you in the direction that you should go. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with what you realize once you start paying attention to that. So this has been another episode of 30 for 30s where Jameson learns things that he probably should have learned a decade ago. As always, thanks for watching. I hope to keep bringing you the good stuff every week, and hopefully I can keep amusing you with my setups. If you like this video, click the like button. Give me a comment about a time that you did trust your gut or didn't and the consequences thereof. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel already, you should just click that button down there. I mean, it's that easy and it'll make me so happy. Plus, by subscribing, you know that you are one of the beautiful people that I am making this content for in an attempt to hopefully help you out as well. Until the next one, stay blessed and trust your instincts, because I am out of here. Oh man, now I gotta take all this down. Here I am.